Hey everyone, welcome back. Get ready because today we're jumping straight into one of the most action-packed, thrilling, and just downright epic adventure explainers you'll ever see. We're talking ancient heroes, massive armies, and a mysterious, intense showdown that seriously feels straight out of an epic anime series. We're going to dive into a legendary story from the book of Genesis, chapter 32, and trace the steps of a guy who was pushed to his absolute limits. It's got wild strategy, crazy suspense, and literally an unbelievable boss battle. So buckle up, grab your snacks, and let's get ready to explore the midnight wrestling match. But, before the action really kicks off, I want you to imagine something with me for a second. Imagine you're standing completely alone outside. The sun has gone down, the sky is pitch black, the shadows are kind of creeping in around you, and every little snapping branch sounds like a monster. Have you ever had to face your absolute biggest fear in the dark? Like when there's no one around to help you? When your heart is pounding so loud you can actually hear it in your ears? Well, that terrifying, lonely feeling is exactly where our hero finds himself tonight. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the giant scary problem.
Okay, let's dive into this. So Jacob has been away from home for a really long time, and God has told him it's finally time to go back. But there's a massive, terrifying problem waiting for him. See, when they were younger, Jacob tricked his brother Esau, and Esau was furious, like so mad that Jacob literally had to run away. Now, years later, Jacob is heading home, but his brother isn't just waiting around for him. Oh no, he is marching toward Jacob right now. And he's definitely not alone. Esau is coming with an army of 400 men. This is a massive, overwhelming threat. I mean, imagine looking at the horizon and seeing the dust kicked up by 400 tough, angry warriors marching directly at you and your family. For Jacob, this is the ultimate boss battle, and it is approaching fast. He is completely trapped.
The text actually tells us that Jacob became greatly afraid and distressed. Honestly, he's totally panicking. He divides all his people and his flocks into two camps, figuring, if Esau attacks one, maybe the other can somehow escape. But Jacob knows that human strategy just isn't going to cut it here. So what does he do? He drops down and prays to the God of his fathers, Abraham and Isaac. He pours his heart out, saying, "Please rescue me from my brother Esau. I'm afraid of him, afraid he'll come and attack me without regard for mothers or children." Jacob completely admits his fear. He reminds God of his promise to protect him, crying out into the fiery anxiety of the moment. Moving right along to Section 2, the animal gift strategy. So Jacob springs into action with this desperate but genius plan. He knows he needs to cool down his brother's fiery anger before they actually come face to face. It's kind of like when you know you messed up really badly, and to say sorry, you offer your sibling all your absolute best toys and video games before you even walk into the room. Jacob is going to send Esau a gift. But not just like a fruit basket. He's sending an absolute mountain of treasure to apologize. Let's check the stats. Jacob selects 200 female goats and 20 males, 200 female sheep and 20 males, 30 milk camels and their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 colts. That's over 550 animals. It's a massive, noisy, stampeding fortune of livestock. He is literally giving away a whole farm's worth of wealth just to prove how sorry he is. And this brilliantly illustrates Jacob's clever tactical mind, right? He doesn't just send all the animals at once. He divides them into separate groups and tells his servants to keep a large space between each group. So when Esau's army meets the first group, the servant says, "These belong to your servant Jacob. They are a present sent to my lord Esau." Then Esau meets a second group, then a third. Wave after wave after wave of massive gifts. Jacob's strategy is to slowly chip away at Esau's anger, appeasing him piece by piece, really hoping that by the time they actually meet, Esau will be completely overwhelmed by kindness and just be friendly toward him. All right, here we go. Section 3, the epic midnight wrestling match. Okay, so the animals are sent ahead, but the danger? It is still very real. As the sun completely sets, Jacob takes his 2 wives, his servants, and his 11 children and sneaks them safely across the dark stream of Yabok. He sends all his possessions across the water too. And then, the text tells us something totally chilling. Jacob was left alone. Just him, the pitch black night, and his racing heartbeat. The stage is set, the arena is empty, the ultimate showdown is about to begin. Suddenly, out of the shadows, a mysterious man appears, and without any warning at all, they engage in the most epic, intense wrestling match of all time. This isn't a quick little scuffle. They lock up, they grapple, they're throwing each other into the dirt, and they do not stop. Midnight passes, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. They are wrestling relentlessly in the pitch black. Dust is flying, muscles are straining, and neither of them is giving up an inch. This grueling back-and-forth battle rages on for hours, literally all the way until the sky begins to turn purple at daybreak. It's the absolute ultimate endurance test. As the sun is just starting to peek over the horizon, the mysterious opponent realizes something. He hasn't defeated Jacob. Jacob is just way too stubborn. So the man does something totally unbelievable. Bam! He delivers a devastating supernatural strike right to Jacob's hip socket. The impact is so intense that Jacob's hip is instantly dislocated. It's literally like a star athlete getting a massive, agonizing injury right at the climax of the championship game. The pain must have been absolutely blinding. So the mysterious man tells Jacob, "Let me go because it's daybreak." Jacob's hip is completely out of place, he's totally exhausted, and he is in terrible agony. But does he quit? Does he tap out? No way. Jacob fiercely grips his opponent, looks him dead in the eye, and shouts, "I won't let you go unless you bless me." Talk about epic determination. Even when he's broken and limping, Jacob absolutely refuses to surrender until he gets the ultimate victory.
Now what's really interesting about this next part is Section 4, a brand new name. The man asks him, "What is your name?" He answers, "Jacob." And right then, the opponent reveals his true identity. Guys, this whole time, Jacob wasn't fighting a random warrior. He wasn't even fighting just an angel. He had been wrestling with God. And because of his unbelievable perseverance, Jacob receives an epic reward, a brand new name. The man declares, "From now on, you will no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, because you have shown your strength to both God and men and have prevailed." The name Jacob originally meant trickster or heel catcher, kind of referring to his past mistakes. But his new name, Israel, means struggles with God. It's an absolute level up. He's no longer defined by his fears or his past tricks. He is now defined by his incredible endurance and his encounter with the divine. The man blesses him right there on the spot. Amazed and completely awestruck, Jacob names that battlefield Peniel, which translates to face of God. He says, "Because I have seen God face to face, yet my life is spared." As the golden sun finally rises upon him, casting light all over the glowing battlefield, Jacob walks away. But he walks away differently. He goes past Peniel limping at the hip. That limp is a permanent badge of honor, a reminder for the rest of his life of the night he wrestled with God and survived. And actually, to this day, the text notes that the people of Israel remember this epic night by not eating that specific thigh muscle. Let's bring it all together in Section 5, 4 epic hero lessons. Power-ups unlocked. First up, dependence on God. Jacob learned he couldn't just rely on his own tricks or his huge animal gifts anymore. His struggle highlighted the move from trusting only himself to truly relying on God for survival. Second, transformation. He didn't just get a cool new name, his entire character changed. Becoming Israel meant he left his old trickster ways in the dirt for good. Third, perseverance. By clinging to God through the intense pain of a dislocated hip and demanding a blessing, he showed the incredible power of persistence in prayer. Seriously, never give up. And fourth, reconciliation. This entire challenging night was preparing his heart, and Esau's too, to overcome their past sins and finally make peace with one another as brothers. Jacob went into the dark, totally terrified of an army of 400 men. But he came out as Israel, a transformed hero who had wrestled with God and prevailed. So what does this all mean for us? Here's my question for you. When you're standing in the dark and you're facing a giant, scary problem of your own, will you remember the lessons of Peniel? Will you hold on tightly, refuse to give up, and rely on God to see you through to the sunrise? Click the bell button, like, share, and subscribe.